From humble beginnings in 1985, today, Welspun Group takes pride in being one of the world's largest home textile manufacturers and large diameter pipe makers, and finds a place on India's Fortune 500 list too. All thanks to creating category-defining products. And we aim to replicate that in flooring through Welspun Flooring. Just the thought of dust, noise, mess, and the time it takes to change floors, along with the lack of exciting designs, forced people to resist a change in flooring. Not anymore. Welspun Flooring has introduced innovative products with new age, personalized, and exciting designs. So be it a new space or an old floor, we are all about change made easy. We have our innovative products to speak for us. Welspun Flooring's click and lock tiles, with their unique click and lock technology, are a revolution in the flooring segment. For those looking for comfort of carpets in a convenient tile form, our carpet tiles are the right fit. If people want flooring with a seamless charm, they don't have to look any further than our wall-to-wall carpets. Or if they wish for something that looks like real grass, or even better, greens is what we have for them. And with our path-breaking fusion floors, customers can turn designers by mixing and matching products and designs. Get set for a revolution in flooring with Welspun Flooring.
Very warm welcome to all of you on the CTBUH India platform. Every time CTBUH is associated with various events which we always go live, this is one of its kind event where we are coming and meeting you through the webinar series. And these are the new ideas which we are coming up so that you can view being at home and being safe. So I hope you're all safe and at home. So before we begin our session, let me take you through the CTBUH work or the CTBUH platform and explain that how the CTBUH is performing globally or worldwide. So Council of Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat is a 51-year-old international organization present over 40 countries. CTBUH facilitates the exchange of the latest knowledge available on tall building around the world through the publications, research, events, working groups, web resources, and its extensive network of international representatives. It compiles authentic physical, architectural, and structural data on all tall buildings in the world and presents it through its skyscraper portal for all to see and use. Through presentations, case studies, and the panel discussions and interviews, it aims to acknowledge the contribution of architects and the engineers to the urban habitat and tall building development. The Council aims to encourage research, development, and debate on the next generation of tall buildings and issues of urban habitat through the participation of industry, professionals, advisors, and the stakeholders. The Council is a sole arbiter of the determination of the height of the building under various categories and classify them with official certification. CTBUH India was established in year 2014 to implement the aims and the objectives of CTBUH International in the Indian context. For more information, you can log on to our website, which is www.ctbuh.org. In line with CTBUH mission, CTBUH India is connecting with its members and the other interested audience in these pandemic situations by bringing the stalwarts of the Indian construction industry to its platform. Their career development, passion, and vision will be discovered in this series of interviews. These series are brought to you by CTBUH India in association with Idac. And let us now go straight to the interview session with Padma Bhushan architect Hafeez Contractor. We welcome you, sir. Making him speak about his thoughts on the various aspects will be architect Rajiv Mishra, Director of Art Education, Government of Maharashtra, and Principal of Sir J.J. College of Architecture. So warm welcome to both of you, and Rajiv, over to you.
Good afternoon, Architect Hafeez Contractor. It's a great pleasure to have you again back in the audience. Welcome to this brief session where we will try to learn from your interaction with us. Hafeez Contractor is a big brand name. Padma Bhushan Hafeez Contractor has a style of architecture. So if you were to be told what kind of style you wish to be known by when it comes to your architecture, what would be your response?
I work for the people. I don't impose my style on my client. I design for a purpose. A lot of people say that I am, my architecture is all stunts, but it's not a single stunt.
Okay.
Right from my starting days, everything I did had a particular and a definite purpose, a complete purpose. And I tried to solve that purpose by which I solve the requirement of the project, the person who is finally going to use it, and the client. So it satisfied everyone. I can quote you examples after examples, like the first round opening, why I did it, why I started doing double wall. I had coined the word 2 feet 6 inches architecture, because in Mumbai, when you are doing work for builders and the plots are very small, you have to think about the total FSI. Open spaces are very, very, very tight.
Yeah.
And the only place that you could go out beyond your FSI was that 2 feet 6 inches chhaja. And why I did this 2 feet 6 inches, double wall, because at that time, I'm talking about 1981, 1979, when every builder's building was leaking. It's not like today that we would be having, say, Maiwan or those kind of a construction. At that time, it was column beams and infill panel walls. And since everybody wanted to do work faster and faster, so between the beams and the 9 inches wall, which was the norm at that time, it would leak. Also, the masons would not put the mortar properly, so it will leak. So what did I do? I started 2 feet 6 inches architecture. Now, when I started, I'll just tell you how I did that. Okay, normally, your say beam is like this, your slab is here, and you have a 9 inches wall.
Right.
Now, the FSI is considered from outside of the wall. But what I did, okay, now so 9 inches was going in my FSI and the wall was leaking. So what I did my beam, I took out another ledge, another beam, okay, and ledge. Now my FSI is from here. So I did a 4.5 inches wall and again a 4.5 inches wall. So this much 3 inches came in my room. So I increased the carpet area of the room, and that's my range. So I gave it like a complete raincoat to my building, and with that, everything became nice, and none of the buildings were leaking. So this was my first thing. I did it for purpose, but everybody thought that I am just doing it for elevation. There is not a single thing which I have not done for a purpose. Okay.
Yeah.
Another very important building that I did, which was Meghmalar. Now, the Meghmalar client, at that time there was land ceiling going on, and the Meghmalar client came, and he's still my client, Kritik area, and he came, being a Marwadi, he's very good with figures. So he said, Hafeez, I want you to design this 80 square meter flat, but I want my room sizes to be this, this, this. How I am, I said, okay, I'll do it. Without thinking, I was just enthusiastic about the work. So, and then finally, by the time he's given his complete brief, I started calculating the room sizes. And I said, Kirti, if I give these room sizes, the rooms itself are going more than 80 square meter. So how will I do other things? So he started saying, Arey Raja, you apply your mind, dimag laga, you will be able to do it.
Okay.
I told him, how can I beat architecture? How can I beat arithmetic? I can't beat arithmetic.
Right.
Just dimag laga. Okay, now I'll tell you what I did. I don't know whether you know the whole Meghmalar, how the elevation is. So he had said that he wanted rooms which are 10 by 14. Now this is 14 and this is 10. Okay, it's 140. Now I had to cut down the area. So what I did, I made my room like that. This much area goes off, this much area goes off.
Right.
So but I gave him the room 10 by 14. Okay. Then he had said he wanted 20 feet by 20 feet living room. So what I did now,
okay, that's good.
and balconies were not there in the thing, so I made a balcony. So now this is 20 by 20, this is 10 by 14, 10 by 14, and that's how I got that form of that building. Everybody's thought that I am doing this building just for the sake of form, but it was not for the form. And I can go on and on and on for each and every new form that I introduce in this my practice was for a reason. The first time I did a building with a pitch roof. Why I did that building with a pitch roof? I was doing a building opposite to the main municipal building in Pune.
Okay.
The municipal building in Pune had nice, beautiful pitch roofs and all that. So when I started doing a building in front of that. I knew that I can't afford to use brick and all those kind because that's very, very expensive.
Right.
So I wanted to respect that building, so I did a pitch roof. And that gave a complete new dimension to any residential buildings. And to make it, the builder was not interested in doing it because it was more expensive. But I told him that, see, a person can make a small mezzanine, and his young kid will go on top and sleep, and it will be a nice feature. Your living room also will have a better height.
Right.
So I did the pitch roof. And once I did it, then it got copied like wildfire all over India.
Yeah.
Everything is for a purpose, purpose, and purpose.
I think you put it very well, sir. From your elevation style 2 feet 6 inches architecture, you brought in function. I think it would be very interesting that you move from 2 feet 6 inches to a functional aspect in a building. And then you also brought in engineering. You know, your trend of converting from 2 feet 6 inches to function in architecture and then to engineering aspect in architecture must have been very interesting. So it would be nice if you bring in your engineering skills also while designing your buildings.
Okay, now let us get to how and why I did the first round opening.
Yes.
Now, though you are saying that from my elevation and architecture to 2 feet 6 inches, there was never a distinction. There was never a distinction about that, it is elevational architecture or 2 feet. It was always the same. My approach was always the same. Okay. When I first did the round opening, why did I do a round opening?
Right.
We were doing a building called Om Sadan. I was
Right.
working in Karegard's office, and the builder said that, he would not like to have any shear walls in between the rooms.
Right.
And that time, all buildings, because they were so narrow, had to have a shear wall. So the building was something like that. It was like this, I remember. And the core was at the back. This was the core with lifts. And there were all rooms. And after the room, there were toilets. Now, since the builder did not want any, in a normal circumstances, the shear walls would be like this, shear walls will be like that, shear walls will be like that in those days. And this will, the staircase and all of that will give the aspect ratio because this was very, very narrow. I remember at that time, this building was going some 40 floors or something like that. And with this, you could not get the aspect ratio, and this was getting the aspect ratio. Right. So, but since the toilets were like that, after the room, my engineer, Kamal Hatkar, said that, let me give you a U-shaped column outside. So we had U-shaped columns outside, and all the toilets were here. But I needed light and ventilation to the toilet. Right. So this was my first lesson from an engineer. And Kamal said that, we had never done a round window. So Kamal said that, if, have you seen slotted angles? I said, yeah. And he says, have you seen slotted angles? And in slotted angles, how you have only round punctures. And then I remembered what I had learned in my engineering. And because the round opening lets the pressure of the load go uniformly on the structural column. And that's how I came up with the round opening. I remember when my boss had come the next day in the morning, he said, hey, what is this round opening? But it was for a purpose. Then I'm sure you've seen all over Mumbai and India, that everybody started doing round openings for their toilet ducts. But this has come about by a definite reason. So, so it is like this. Everything is for a reason. Huh? The first job I got, okay, the first job I got, and I remember that was also because of Kamal's, the first independent job. Though I was working with Karegat, and Kamal called me up and said that, there is a new builder in town, and he's making very good buildings, but he's got an architect who is not so good. So why don't you go and meet him? So I said, yes. So I went and met him on, it was, I think, Friday. It was Friday morning. So I went and met him. He was not there on the site. I just saw the site, and I realized that this guy is a Sindhi builder. Okay. And I had lots of Sindhi clients before that. So I said, he will definitely count money. So I just saw the plans, and the site was sloping up, and the previous architect had done corridors and all that, and he was eating up all the FSI in corridors. So he came and he says, "Oh, what do you want? What can you do? Kamal has talked to me this." So I told him, okay, I said the name of the client, and I said, "Sir, I can increase your profit." I don't remember, it was lakhs or thousands or God knows. I think it was lakhs. I just calculated the passage and all that, and I said, I can make of this passage area, I can give you 5-6 shops more. And that was coming to some 60 crore or 60 lakhs or something like that. And he says, that's very good. But he said, I don't have time. So he said that today is Friday. I'm sure you're not doing anything tomorrow. He says, yeah, if you, I can wait for you up to Monday afternoon. Okay. I went running back to the office. I did all the plans, took out that passage, gave him those 5-6 shops more, because I used the slope of the land. I did not need to have corridors. Yeah. So I did that, and that gave rise to Om Chambers. Okay, that's interesting. Presented, I remember those days, there were no computers, nothing. So I went there, I worked the whole of Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, made all the perspectives, freehand perspectives, everything. On Monday at about 9:30 in the morning, I finished. I went home, had my, though I used to eat, go down and eat and all that. I went home, had my lunch, slept for an hour or so, came back, presented to Mr. Om Prakash ji, and he loved it, and that was the first job. Oh, that's great. So it is always a purpose. Okay. No, yeah. This is a great story, sir. But this was the first job you got on your own. No, I was working with Karegat, but Karegat said that, what this? Okay. But I got that job on my own. So can I ask you another question? This is so interesting. So when you joined Karegat, sir, what was your first job in Karegat sir's office? The first job in his office. No, I remember the first drawing that I made. He was already doing a building for a school called Bhai Dhanmai Kawasji High School in Khandala. Okay. Today also you can see that building. It's still standing there. Okay. Yes. And the structural engineer was Behram Munwala, a very, very colorful guy, and a guy who would do very innovative things. And I remember the contractor had come Aspi engineer, Atia Irani were the contractors, and he said that, this building, according to me, will not stand. It is too lightly designed. But anyway, that the drawing for that building was my first drawing that I did in Kharegaj's office, Temas's office. And you'll be shocked to hear that I had never seen a stencil. And when first, my another cousin, who was also an architect, he was using stencils. So I, from my first salary, which was I was on a salary of 30 rupees, but since my boss saw me such a hardworking guy, so he gave me 50. And I went and bought from my first salary, a stencil for 16 rupees. Stencil letters were very small. So everywhere I used to stencil that only, for smaller lettering also, bigger heading also, because I was so enamored by that stencil lettering. So that was my first drawing.
That's great. So I now move ahead. What has been happening is, a lot of people think that you are known more by your residential projects all over the country, all over the world. But some of the most iconic buildings that has been done by you are the buildings done in Gurgaon, the buildings done in Hyderabad, five-star hotels done in Bombay. The ITC Grand Maratha project is such a wonderful project to look at. It's very inspiring for people to see that a five-star hotel can be also designed like this. So why is it that people like you to be labeled as or known more as a residential architect rather than an architect of the commercial enterprise?
See, when you are designing a commercial building, and I have often said that designing a commercial building or designing an ashram or an art gallery is like walking bare feet in a garden. Lawn. There's no risk if I'm designing an art gallery or something like that. I can make a triangular room, I can make a round room, I can give a round opening and get light. I can make just a slit and say, I wanted this light on the painting or something. I can give any reason and I can do anything. If I were to do that for a residential building, I said that when you're designing a residential building, it's like walking 50 feet high up in the air on a rope.
Right.
You take one wrong step and you fall and you die, because you cannot even make a window opening smaller or bigger. There are rules for it. Okay, just imagine. People say, compare any building with residential building with a museum.
Right.
A museum. First of all, you are not going to get clients like Kirti Kedia who are going to come and say, oh, I'm coming tomorrow to see the design. Tomorrow. He gives the job today and he wants a design tomorrow. And he's not the only guy. Every client today also.
Right.
They come and say, when can we see the design? Nowadays, they are very, very lenient. They'll give you 3 days or 4 days.
Okay.
Hours. So, you have to take care of time. You have to take care of law. Then law, open space, for carpet built-up area ratio. Then you have to take care of fire. You have to take care of so many laws. And you have to take care of finance.
Right.
All that comes in a residential building, but it doesn't come in a commercial so much.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and there was a time when I would say 100% of my practice and also in Karegar's practice, it was all residential.
Yeah.
There was nothing, no commercial buildings were being built in the city of Mumbai. Forget
Yeah,
us.
that's true. But sir, there are 3 or 4 things when you design a residential building for which you are well known. One is the occupant, the user for whom you design. The other is a developer who's actually supplying this design to the occupant. The third is the aesthetics of the building. You want the building to be smarter, always ahead of its time. So there are many factors you need to balance. So what factor is more important to you than these three, that makes you take a decision on a design of a building?
See, I think, I would, with this question of yours, I would also like to add another question, because when I go to a lot of colleges to give a talk or something like that, and a lot of students, a lot of other people say, "Oh, how do you design? Is the form coming first? Is the function coming first?" There is nothing like anything comes first. It is what is the purpose? First and foremost, what does he want? What kind of a site is it? Everything comes simultaneously. And once it comes and you understand the whole problem simultaneously, then you just apply constructional technique.
Right.
And that's about all. There is nothing that, this has come first and that has come second. If you start thinking like that, then your building won't be a natural building. Then you will be doing a lot of things for elevational sake. Then you'll be doing a lot of things for just to make it look good. It
Right.
does come out from your heart, or
Yeah.
it's not, come from within. So there is
Yes.
nothing first, there is nothing second.
So
It has
with your, I think that is quite well put. See, with this, anything coming first or last, there is this budget that you have to face in any project, and your construction detail is there to basically talk about the economy of the construction. So would you like to say something? How do you economize a building construction by doing a building detail in such a way that you spend less on actually building the building and then control the budget, which could be attractive to a
uh,
developer?
okay. Right now, we have see. I have always said, and I have always believed that my practice is, I keep on thinking and I keep on reinventing myself every second day. Every second day, there is a new problem and we try to solve that problem. There is a client who has come up with a new problem and we try and solve it. Okay.
Right.
So today we are working and not working, but I would say that we have mastered the art, because today what is happening that in the city of Mumbai, everywhere FSIs have gone up. So FSI, you'll be having some plots where there is 3 FSI, some there are 4 FSI. We are having plots where we are consuming 10, 15, and 18 FSI also. And at the same time, flats have gone smaller.
Right.
So how do you do economic building? And to us, in fact, we have coined the word zero waste architecture.
Oh, okay.
In that, whatever, it's like you have to save on each and every material. Okay, like I will tell you now. I'll give you another example of a building.
Okay.
Normally, you see all our residential buildings, the virtual plans are like that. Okay, and staircase is here, lifts are here, This is one flat, second flat, third flat, fourth flat. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now that's a normal plan that you must be seeing it for
Yeah.
so many years and years and years. Okay. And in this also there are offsets, 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 offsets. Okay. Now today we don't do this kind of a plan because what we do, we say that because these kind of plans were okay when buildings were 6 floors, 7 floors, and 10 floors. Okay, like that.
Right.
Today, the shape of the building, the shape of the plan, how your core is, what is your aspect ratio, all of that plays a very, very important role. And when you design that kind of a building where it is going to play a very important role, okay, and now say this building, if you were to take it to say 50 floors, then each and every block of this is becoming a separate wing, and then it will this will become a very, very weak link, and this will act as a separate, this will act. So then what will engineer do? He will start putting big shear walls, big shear walls. Now all these big shear walls is a load on my area. But if I were to design a building which is completely square with a proper, framing, and the core is proper right in the center, which will take up my earthquake and everything properly, then I need just gravity columns on the periphery. I just need gravity columns on the periphery.
Right.
Maybe this may be one of my, this will be my main frame. Now, this kind of a building will be at least 15% cheaper than the previous one structurally, and in consumption of my area, okay, it will be another 10% cheaper. So we say that we can give you much cheaper building and much more economic building, and without any more area. So that's we call it the zero waste architecture.
I think this is so interesting, sir. I'm almost tempted to ask you that if you are given a chance to change anything in the syllabus of architectural education and teaching in architecture schools, would you be ready to give your suggestions to Board of Studies in Architecture? Would you like to participate in some way, or what is it that you wish to change? Because I think the interesting way, the way which you explained the gravity columns and the structural details in a building, I clearly understand that you want application of engineering to take a major role in architecture education. The construction detail, yes. But is there anything else we would like to say when it comes to addition of new subjects in architecture syllabus?
See, I feel that the way all the professions are changing,
Right.
so is the profession of architecture also. Today, I feel that our profession has changed completely from the time we were in college, or any kids who are right now also in college. The profession has completely changed. There are many things that an architect today is supposed to do. And if you go in an office, you will realize that every guy doesn't do each and everything. Like in my office, I only design, I only draw sketches, and I give these concepts, and I give it. And I give it to my assistant, who is much better with all his computer techniques and everything. He'll draw it better, he'll do things better. So he specializes in that. So the same way, I feel first and foremost that when you are teaching students today, you should give them a scope of specialization, like how in the field of medicine, there's specialization. Somebody becomes a surgeon, somebody becomes an anesthetist, somebody becomes this. So the same way, it should not be that the architect comes out into the profession. For the first 1 or 2 years, he will be wasting in the office because he will say, "Oh, I want to design," and he's not good at design. He will be wasting time. Then he will buy 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Then he will realize that he's more interested into materials. He's more interested into specification, and there he's doing a much better job than the other guy. So I feel that first and foremost, it should be that we should have, after some time, specialization. But one thing I would like to say, and which I have experienced, maybe I am wrong, maybe the student who met me, a lot of times we do not give importance to construction.
Okay.
Construction is our backbone. If you do not know your construction, then what will happen? It will be like I have met so many interior decorators who, by way of just flair, become interior decorators. But they'll come and say, "Oh, can I break this wall? Can I do this? Can I do that?" And every time the engineer has to say yes, no. As an architect, you are supposed to know your engineering, and you have to tell the engineering, "No, I want it like this. I want my structural theories like this. I would like you to take like this. I would, that's the way." And then you tell the engineer, "Boss, you now just design your structural element." That should be the confidence. The same way you should be able to tell your services guy that my concept of services is this. My concept is this. I want you to design like that. Then he can come and give you something little better idea. But it should not be that you are dependent on the structural guy to tell you where to put columns and all that. No, then you are a dead man. You cannot be like that. You have to be in control. So you have to know. So our profession right now, I feel that we are not giving more importance, or I would say as much importance as it has to be given for construction and structure, and which I feel is the most important thing.
Yeah, in short, what you are saying is you tell people to dream, but they should dream something which is buildable, which is constructible, and which should actually stand the test of the day. Okay, I think this is what you're trying to aim at. But if there is any other subject you feel that we should add in the architecture syllabus today, beside design and construction, because you said that people would like to wonder, dream, think of ideas.
No. A lot of times when people say that, "Oh, I am dreaming and going to design," there is nothing like that.
Okay.
The design should just come out in 1 or 2 seconds. And for that, I feel that you guys should start morning colleges only. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because if you have a morning college,
Right.
you get the best professors who are already teaching and who are practicing.
Right.
They will come and teach in the morning college, and later on, then the student can go and work in an office.
Right.
That will give the guy his practical knowledge. From one side, he will get his theoretical knowledge in the college, and that will really make him a very, very good architect.
Yeah, it will give him confidence. It will give him some good ideas.
And you will get good teachers.
Yeah.
Good teachers, because that's the most important thing. If you have one good teacher, I think you will fly, because he will put you in the right on the right track. Once you are on the right track and your train starts moving, initially it will move a little slow, it will stop, it will move. And once it starts moving properly, then it will catch speed. So one guy who has to put you on the right track, one teacher.
Yeah,
You don't need, if you have 2, 3, it's very nice and lucky. And I had lots and lots of good teachers. I tell you,
yeah,
lots and lots of good teachers.
yeah. I can imagine. We can see the result today in you through your work. So we have been seeing a lot of tall buildings coming up in the city of Bombay, and we also understand that majority of these good buildings have been designed by you. You can put some light on how it all started in Bombay when it came to tall buildings, and how did it then work on site, and how is it working today on site? Because a lot of issues related to skyscrapers and tall buildings are going to make a major impact in a lot of redevelopment projects in our city. So if you could throw some light, yeah.
Okay, see, tall buildings, you have to understand one thing, that initially in about, say, 78 or 76, when tall buildings started,
Right.
it started just, there was a building which was, the plan was for 6 stories or 7 stories. FSI was more, and it just got added. The whole concept, and I would say that the engineering of tall buildings, nobody had heard of also.
Right.
Buildings were going from 10-story to 13-story, 14-story. Nobody was thinking of lifts. Nobody was thinking of anything. Structure, the structural guy will come and put the columns. He will add some more steel.
Right.
Uh, and it was merrily going.
Mm.
Okay. The real tall building architecture, or the real, I would say, the engineering of tall building, I came across when we started doing Prithvi.
Okay.
That also, it was, there was no real education.
Okay.
Every engineer used to start putting, shear walls, and every time the building was only 30-35 feet wide, because there will be 2 flats on a floor, or maximum there will be 4 flats. Then it
Right.
will be about 60 or something like that. The first building where I really learned how a tall building has to be designed was when I did the 26 Marina at Dubai,
Okay.
and we started working with Joe Colasso.
Okay.
And I wanted to. The plot was very, very tight. We had unlimited FSI. It was only that, the car park and the restrictions were there, and I wanted to do a round building, because the plot on one side had a curvilinear side. So I took that and started designing a round building. When I started doing the round building, Joe Colasso came and says, "Oh, Hafeez, with a round building, we will have a vertex movement." And then I asked him, "What is a vertex movement?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the first time, then he says, "Oh, do you remember there is a building of, I am pi in this place, and the glass comes and flies off." Then I suddenly realized that I had done one building in Delhi for DLF, and on one of, it was at Gateway Tower,
Right.
and it was a curvilinear building,
Right.
and the glass was flying off, and then we put a bead. Then Joe Colasso told me, see, how you have a car, the vertex movement, why you have a bead on a car, it breaks that movement. Then from that, we came to an octagonal plan. Then we came about the core. We started designing the core. Then slowly and steadily, every time we went from one form to another form. And with this kind of an interaction with him, I really learned the first principles of a high-rise building.
Oh.
And then it was the Imperial, where again we came with the core. We never used to design a core. The core was like, oh, the engineer will take care of it. But no, today we design the core, we design the structure, and then the engineer takes it up. Like now, I'll tell you another thing. In Imperial, the requirement of Imperial, no, in 23 Marina, the requirement of the flats, we had kept on changing the flat configuration. Okay. And that time, it had helped us in the wind load. But now that wind load, it had helped us, but it was not really pointed out. So we had forgotten. And right now I'm doing a very high-rise building, which is more than 100 stories. And we have designed the core. We have designed everything. But that is for the seismic, and that is but it is not really meant for wind. Because once you go more than 40, 45 floors, the wind plays a very important role. So how to take care of that is another thing. So what you see a lot of buildings abroad, why they have terraces? It's to confuse the wind and take care of the wind. But our bylaws in Mumbai will not allow you to have terraces.
Why?
So,
because they have been designed for tall buildings up to a certain height.
No. Because our municipality always thinks that if you have terraces, somebody will enclose it and this and that.
Misuse of the.
Our bylaws are very, very naive. Okay, they are now our bylaws say that you must step the building and go on one side. You cannot have. You have to have a symmetrical building to take care of all the loads properly.
Absolutely. I think what you are saying is that every building, high-rise building, should be predetermined with structural system, understanding space, material, movement of forces, and then the structural engineer takes over from your dream design. I think that is what. But I think this idea of municipal corporation not being able to understand it is so unfortunate. I think maybe the engineers have to understand that this is more for the purpose of design rather than enclosing it for it to be misused.
Absolutely, and today that is only the least of the thing for our municipal bylaws. I don't know. I don't remember that saying of Churchill that you design good buildings and then the buildings will. Yeah. Okay. In Mumbai, the municipality doesn't want you to design good buildings. I have gone to each and every. I have gone to so many municipal commissioners. I have gone to so many chief ministers, and told them that, sir, in Mumbai now you cannot get a good building. I have given them all the examples, everything. You are talking about the ITC hotel. What is about the ITC hotel? It's the elevation, it's the top. Okay, you cannot have that kind of a building now with the new municipal laws. You cannot have it. Okay, you cannot have any building like VT. You cannot have a building like Imperial Tower. You cannot. They want you to make a dabba. Okay. Why?
No, I think I have a suggestion here, sir, if it is okay with you. The current chief minister is an artist by profession. He's an applied artist, and I think he understands these aesthetics better. It would be very nice if we do a presentation to him and make the municipal corporation change bylaws for certain buildings so that we have good buildings in the city. I think that's the demand of the time.
I have given a petition to Mr. Aditya Thackeray that how he can change the laws. And I'm not talking to change the laws so that a builder will get more FSI or anything. It is only for functional reasons. See now, this is I would like to tell you one more thing.
Yes, sir.
In a building, you make any law, or in a real estate, or the built environment, the built environment, if you make a wrong law, it is not reflected very fast. Because by the time a building gets done, first of all, people will put it for approval, then it will get done. It will take about 4 or 5 years to construct. And by the time the results come out, it is virtually 7 to 8 years the earliest. And any law which is, giving rise to a bad building, which the present municipal laws are, you will make the whole of Mumbai like a Madha colony. Okay. Then after 7, 8 years, people will realize that Bombay is becoming like a chawl. Then who has made these laws? And everybody will forget it. So it is very important that a person who is trained into a building industry has to make the laws.
Right, sir. I think lot of affordable housing are coming up in the city of Bombay. Lot of SRA projects are coming up for the city in Bombay. We should have guidelines to design these affordable housing projects. Otherwise, the city has nobody else to blame for but for municipal corporation for such bad laws. I think, would you like to say something about the guidelines of new design that you could suggest for affordable housing in the city? Because that is what is going to be the next big thing happening to the city.
I just said it. Zero waste architecture as far as planning is concerned, zero waste architecture as far as materials are concerned. And why zero waste architecture is very, very important for a country like ours, because see, we have a very, very large population. We have a population of 1.2, 1.3 billion. Okay. And why am I saying 2 to 3? Because census this and census that. And very soon we'll go to 1.5. Okay. We have such a big shortage of housing. Our materials are getting restricted. If you look at it, cement, wood, steel, everything is getting restricted. And as far as environment is concerned, we have to utilize material in the right manner. Another thing which is very important, and which the statistics say, that the amount of built environment that has to come up for India, 75% of that environment doesn't exist today. That is, in the next 30 years, 40 years, 75% of that built environment is going to be built in this next 30 years. So if you start wasting or if you start saving on each and every building, 10 to 15% of your materials, 10 to 15% of your built up area, it will help the environment, it will help your country, and it will help to house more people, more your brothers and sisters. That is what should be done.
So with so much of guidelines and so much of affordable housing now coming up as projects, and a lot of tall buildings now meeting the density requirements, you have any idea about the guidelines which by zero wastage project? You have ideas for these tall buildings that would be coming for sale housing? Because a lot of public parking, a lot of private projects are coming with tall buildings as sale buildings, and they often stand next to affordable housing because they do a land sharing model, under the Slum Rehabilitation Authority's guidelines. So would you like to say something on that?
See, to be very frank, the old slum scheme, the SR Shiv Shahi Prakalp, it was I who had gone to Mr. Balasaheb Thackeray, given the idea, and since all the other ministers and all of them never wanted to do that, and Mr. Balasaheb only said that nai karai chai, and I really gave him that credit. Because of that, so many people have got the slum guys have got houses. Okay, a lot of criticism is coming that they are very close by and they are like this and like that. Okay, See, now for everything and everything, one has to look at what it had previously and what it has now.
Yeah.
I will tell you one story, and this is very, very important.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When we went for the inauguration or the Bhumi Puja of Imperial and the slum scheme, and I remember at that time my client, Mr. Dilip Thakkar, was there. Mr. Uddhav Thackeray had come to inaugurate it. I was there. Okay. And at that time, two Maharashtrian ladies had come because they were staying there, all dressed up with beautiful nose ring and that, and that 9-yard sari.
Right.
And they took us to the Ganpati Ji Mandir over there. And they did the tika, they did something, all of that. And then they started doing the arti.
Right.
So one of the Maharashtrian guys told me, "Aapko मालूम है ये क्या करते हैं?" He said it in Marathi. So I said, "No, I don't know what is it." So he said, "They are taking your arti." So I said, He said, "Nahi, nahi." In our Maharashtrians, our ladies take arti of only God and their husband.
Oh.
Why are they taking of us? One of the Maharashtrian lady told us that, "Do you know what you have done to us?"
Yeah.
So I said, "What?" So she said, "Today, just listen carefully. Today, we cannot go to toilet after sunrise.
Right.
And we cannot go to toilet before sunset."
Yeah.
Can you imagine? And she says, "Do you know, now we will be getting toilet in our own house. We will be getting 24 hours water." Yes, we had promised, but because of water condition and this and that.
Yeah.
But still, when
great.
All the international newspapers that come to take their interview, they have 5-6 hours water. Previously, they had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and stand in the queue. So from that to this, today, I am drawing a scheme for the new slums. Okay. And today what I am doing, you will be shocked to hear.
Yes, sir.
Today, I am designing the slums in such a way that they will have better open space, better garden than the best of your residential buildings in this country. They will have better open space, okay? And we will solve the problem of housing with this. That is what we are coming to. So we have to keep on progressing. You just can't say, "Oh, this was wrong, this was wrong." Okay, it was wrong. Show us a way how to do it better. I'm showing you a way how to do it better. And that's the way I said, let's go forward. Let's go forward.
I think, sir, you are very positive. You are full of ideas and you want people to succeed along with you. I think that is the greatest thing you have. You are very infectious when it comes to success. You don't want anybody to fail and you want people to succeed along with you as you go ahead in life. Padma Bhushan, Hafeez Contractor, has a dream project still to be done. Does he feel that there is something left that he still wants to do? What is it that he wishes to do now that he has got all his accomplishments done?
I have one wish: a house for every Indian.
Oh, that's great.
And whenever I give any presentation, whenever I talk anywhere, this is my final wish. An affordable house for every Indian. Okay. And I will achieve it.
Oh, that's great. So you already have ideas of utilizing land areas, spaces around cities?
Boss, 1 second. I have given a proposal to the government by which I am making 10 million new houses.
Oh.
Okay. I will generate employment.
Yes.
I will infuse in the economy trillions of rupees So this COVID, I'm not sleeping at home. I'm working on something new. And if this, the government accepts it, it will be a new dawn for India and its architecture and its building industry.
Yeah. I wish you all the best. I wish you every bit of a success, because having a house for oneself is a dream for every Indian. But there are a lot of informal settlements, there are a lot of slums which have not been, given their rights to housing. With this idea, with this kind of a dream that you have, I wish you every success. I want you to succeed at any cost. And if there is anything we as academicians could do, we as colleges of architecture could do, we can do your presentations for the public at large at our institutions, so that everybody gets to understand your dream. And we want you to succeed, sir, at any cost, because we want your dream to be realized as long as we are here. You have been a great inspiration to budding architects. You have always been looked upon as an architect who everybody wants to be. I am not saying that success is related only to becoming Hafeez Contractor, but there is something which Hafeez Contractor has achieved. And therefore, when a lot of architects and a lot of students of architecture look up to you for improving their practice, for going ahead in the world of architecture practice, what would be the word or what would be the statement you would make for them today?
There are lots and lots of, it's not just one thing, but I would say that, first of all, keep your eyes open, listen to people. I often said that when a client is coming to you and he's telling you something, he has thought of that problem 100 times more than you. So take free advice willingly, follow it, and be honest and hard work, and then leave it to God. That's all. Then God, there is a very good saying, no? God helps those who help themselves. And that's it. It's very simple, but
Yeah, sir, but the profession of architecture looks up to you for its successful practice. We want Padma Bhushan to get converted to Padma Vibhushan in the days to come. And I'm sure with your dreams of providing house to every Indian, architects will get their due. The Council of Architecture is working towards taking architecture profession to the next level. And I'm sure with architects like you, the profession will benefit a ton. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and ideas today. It will be a great inspiration to the young minds. Thank you again from all. Thank you again from all of us here. Thank you.
thank you, my dear.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I think it was a great pleasure to listen to architect Hafeez Contractor. I'm sure with his thoughts, with his ideas, you might have had a lot of things to understand from his works. The whole point that I'm trying to make here is that as academicians, as students of architecture, the practice of an architect has a different idea, has a different thinking point. And now I would be actually discussing a lot of question and answers that I have been allowed to take from the audience. My questions will come one by one, but I guess how Mr. Contractor takes them and answering it would be another skill. And we will soon be joined by him. As soon as he comes, I want you to be ready with your questions, and you can actually write in your chat box your questions one by one. We will try to address most of it. We'll see to it that students also get opportunity to ask architect Hafeez themselves
with your questions, and
we'll
write in your chat box your questions one by one.
Yeah.
We will try to address most of it.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll see to it that students also get opportunity to ask architect Hafeez themselves with your questions,
Ask.
and we'll write in your chat box your questions one by one.
Yeah.
We will try to address most of it.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll see to it that students also get opportunity to ask architect Hafeez themselves with your questions,
Ask.
and
Okay.
we'll write in your chat box your questions one by one.
Yeah.
We will try to address most of it. We'll see to it that students also get opportunity to ask architect Hafeez themselves.
Hello, architect Hafeez Contractor. Shall we start with the question and answer session? Are you ready to take them one by one?
Students also get opportunity to ask
Just getting repeated.
architect Hafeez themselves.
Oh, we have some technical problem.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
Working pretty
Hi,
fine now.
Shall we start with the question and answer session? Are you ready to
Yes,
take one by one?
Students also get opportunity to ask.
I think it is because of somebody's phone is nearby. You'll have to keep your phones away. That is why it is causing a signal issue. Working pretty fine now.
Shall we start with the question and answer session? Are you ready to
Yes,
take one by one?
Students also get opportunity to ask.
I think it is because of somebody's phone is nearby. You'll have to keep your phones away. That is why it is causing a signal issue. Working pretty fine now.
Shall we start with the question and answer session? Are you ready to
Yes,
take one by one?
Students also get opportunity to ask.
I think it is because of somebody's phone is nearby. You'll have to keep your phones away. That is why it is causing a signal issue. Working pretty fine now.
Shall we start with the question and answer session? Are you ready to
Yes,
take one by one?
Students also get opportunity to ask.
I think it is because of somebody's phone is nearby. You'll have to keep your phones away. That is why it is causing a signal issue. Working pretty fine now.
Shall we start with the question and answer session? Are you ready to
That
take
link is
one
not
by
there
one?
right now.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, Rajiv sir, just a minute. There is some technical issue. I'm helping sir
Okay.
out.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, Rajiv.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? Good?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. I'm nice. We had a good time, I hope.
Bolo ji, bolo. What are the questions like, or what is it?
Sir, I think I have received a lot of appreciation from the audience who heard you. Everybody got to understand your mind, the insight of what Hafeez Contractor thinks when he's designing a project. They also like the idea of you sketching the details and explaining to them all kinds of thought processes that go through while designing a building and how you go about doing a project. The first of the questions that I recorded was one by Mr. Alok Kumar. where you were trying to explain the style of architecture, and a lot of them thought that you are more an architect who follows the typology and thought processes of the developer and the builder. So you can do a Hiranandani style architect, you can do a DLF style architecture, you can do an architecture of the type of your client. So your style keeps on changing from developer to developer. So what is it that you have in mind when you get different clients, and how is it that this style, which people are claiming, changes from time to time in your thought process?
Uh, the style, what we adopted for Hiranandani was for a reason. After
Yep.
completing Lake Castle, Surendra, when he came to my office and he says he would like me to design another sector, but he specifically told me that, oh, I'm not going to allow you to make an expensive building like Lake Castle. And he also said that, oh, I want smaller windows, I want to use less glass, no granite, no big spans, and we started doing different kind of styles. And he had specifically said that he doesn't want to have modern architecture because he says modern architecture, modern buildings are very difficult to maintain, and after a few years they will get completely disfigured.
Yeah.
So we did several kind of different perspectives, Art Deco, Romanesque, and finally I done even classical, but finally he was not convinced, and so suddenly one day I said, "Oh, why did we make palaces for the poor?" That line, palaces for the poor. So he said, what is a palace for the poor? So I said, oh, all palaces are classical, this, that. And we came about with a style that was the classical style. Now, at that time, classical style, nobody was practicing in India. Though there were some dark bungalows and all that, which were done some 60, 70 years before. But when we started, we didn't know how the hell we are going to take all this classical style into 14 stories and 18 stories building. But we studied everything and we devised a way of doing high-rise buildings in a classical style. So that was for Hiranandani, again for a purpose. When we started doing buildings for DLF, yes, initially we did one or two buildings which were in classical because what was successful in Hiranandani was being done over there. But later on, we devised a new style for DLF. We got into a building. DLF was already doing a lot of buildings, and we got into a building called Beverly Park, where there was already some architect or the in-house had already done it, and he asked me to put things together. So we changed a little bit of plan, we changed a little bit of, and we changed the elevation. At that time, Mr. Rajiv Singh said that, and he had sent me to some place and he had asked me to go and see all the buildings over there. And they were all Spanish buildings. Now, Spanish buildings are less expensive than a classical building because there are less columns, less projections, less cornices. So, and DLF wanted to have a kind of a product which was economical and completely different. And that's how we came up with a Spanish design. So all of this is just not a stunt. It is for a definite purpose, with a lot of discussion and compromises, and we came up with that. So each and every style, then where to do what kind of a building, where to do a modern building, where to do a Spanish building, that was the decision of a client.
Okay. So it was more to satisfy the need of the client and giving him what he wanted, rather than you coming up with.
You can say so, and also fitting with the budget.
And fitting with the budget. There's another very interesting question by an architect called Shantanu Ghosh. He says, what do you see when it comes to this COVID thing happening? changes in office building design, changing in office spaces, what kind of a new normal life will now come in that architects should note and therefore incorporate it in its design process?
I would like to ask him one more question before answering. That it's like when you have a headache. One is that you keep on taking crocin or something without any consideration and saying that, oh, I'm solving my headache. But if the headache is because of you not drank enough water or you're constipated or something like that, if you don't cure it, you'll again get it after a few days. So first of all, does he want a cure, just a crocin, or he wants a perpetual cure? Now, I would say that we all, as Indians and as architects, should go for a perpetual cure.
Yeah.
Why we are having this COVID now? COVID, is a phenomena and a bacteria. What has been we are having
Virus.
yeah, a virus. Sorry, okay. I'm not so
But
good
that's fine.
language as you are, my dear.
That's okay.
So, but the thing is that we have been, taking nature for granted, and that's the first thing. That the way we do our development, the future development, we should take care of it. Okay, that's the first thing. As far as what people are saying that, oh, this social distancing will be a norm. I don't think that the social distancing, yes, for a few months, it is going to be the norm. But very soon, we definitely are going to have some medicine for it and a vaccine for it, and life will go on. Because what we have established the life we everybody wants to meet each other. We have restaurants, we have theaters, we have malls. We can't be just saying that we are just going to be staying inside the house for the rest of our life. That cannot be. We will find a way, and the human race is going to find a way. For a few months, yes, it's going to be a problem, and every day we are going to come up with something new. This is not the way to do it. This is the way. This is the way. But for the next few months, life is going to be difficult.
Yeah. But there is another interesting question by Chris Dravid. He says that in India we use a lot of glass in tall buildings. So though we come out with a lot of glass facade, and though we find the buildings to be good looking and attractive, but climate does not allow more use of glass in buildings because it is not sustainable. But we find most of the buildings have glass facades and they are increasing day by day. So what is it that architect Hafeez Contractor now has to say about it, and how can we reduce or use the glass in facade more effectively or more in a way that it does not fall under criticism?
See, don't look at glass just as one material. When you talk about a building is a complete package. How high it is, what are the loads going to be on the building, how to make the building cheaper, and all of that. If you are having glass on the external facade against, say, concrete, how much of dead load you will increase on a building by having concrete?
Yeah.
When you increase the dead load, how much of earthquake loads will increase? How much of wind loads will increase? That additional load, how much of impact it is going to have on your structure? Look at all of that. Okay. Another thing, the amount of area that a concrete wall or any other wall which will be on the outside against glass, the usable area, how much of usable area has gone less. Now today, do not look at glass just the way glass was looked at years and years back. You can do double glazing, you can do laminated glass, you can have some kind of fins to protect it from sun. But criticizing glass as a material which is a bad material, I don't take it. You can use glass in many, many ways. And because of glass, you are gaining so much of the other advantages. You want to forget that and just punish glass for one reason. That is not correct. Okay.
Yeah. So glass will be used as a material if used for the right way and the right
No, no,
process.
no. I'm going to add to this. Glass is the material of the future.
Okay.
Okay, you have to forget. Uh, it's like a lot of people. A lot of people have told me that, oh, our old buildings were so strong and this and that and that. Stone buildings are still existing. How much of material you are putting into that? What is today? So it's new materials and glass. There are so many different kind of glass, so many different kind of colors. Just imagine with that glass, you don't have to paint the building. Yes, you have to clean it.
Yeah.
No painting, nothing. It's a fantastic material,
Okay.
and I love it. And I can tell you that people can keep on criticizing, criticizing, and criticizing, but it is going to be every day going to be used more and more and more, and it's the material of the future.
Oh, okay. So, in line to this, there is another question by Shri Rajiv Gupta. He says that earlier buildings were more durable, in lines to what you just said. Today, the durability of the building does not last beyond 50 years. Today, the construction technology, though, is of a very high value. People are not sure about the durability of the construction. So, is there something that the construction technique which should be brought in by the architect so that the durability of the building increases and stands for a longer time?
See, when you talk about durability of the buildings, and we definitely are having a question with reinforced concrete buildings. And if I don't know the age of Mr. Rajiv Gupta, but when I was working with Karega. At that time, cement was not available. We had to buy cement. There was a quota. How much of adulteration was going on in the cement? Uh, we used to have concrete with M150 only. Today, nobody does with 150. What kind of sand was there? What kind of workmanship was there? What kind of steel was available? How I have seen buildings with rusted steel being used in the concrete. So all methods, everything has changed. Today we don't even use M150.
Mhm.
Concrete grades have improved. With the concrete grades improving, methods of doing concreting are better. Mixes are better. So yes, there was a time that
Yeah.
concrete buildings before the old stone buildings would collapse, but then in concrete we used to do a lot of cantilevers and all of that. In stone building you hardly have cantilevers, and in stone building the cantilevers were always of wood, but some of those wood cantilevers are gone, and so building standards have improved today, and I can assure you that the new building standards and the new methodology that we have for doing concrete buildings will definitely last for 100 years. So don't worry about it.
This is a very interesting question from Shantanu. He is a first year architecture student. And he says, Sir, as you said, learning engineering is very important, construction skills very important. So, what should I do by being in first year? Now that in my vacation I have time, so that I can learn more about engineering and building construction right from now in first year.
Okay. See, I'll tell you my story. I worked in an office where we never used to do much of interiors. So what I used to do, as soon as I finish my office, I will go to any new building which is getting over, and I'll go by lift on the 15th or 20th floor, get out and then get into each and every flat and see how the interiors were being done. I would open the drawer, I will open the cupboard, I will see the detail. So I learned from that. Another thing I used to do, I used to go to all the sites where I remember I used to go every evening from my office. I used to go to the old Oberoi was getting constructed. The first time I saw a diaphragm wall, what was a diaphragm wall? Then I used to come and ask my engineering friends, what is what is that wall? What was those die boring? So you have to keep your eyes open. You can learn everything from there. Once one engineer told me, look at the way the guy does the scaffolding. How does he do the scaffolding? Why does he tie a diagonal? Why? If you look at in nature, there is everything that you can imbibe from it and learn. And if you keep your eyes open, when you watch a movie, look at the way how bridges are done. When you see it, but it's already there. If you start imbibing and then just few principles you understood of construction, few principles, then take that, apply it, and then everything is the whole world is open to you of construction. When they are going to teach you, say that this young boy, they will teach you, at least they taught us wooden trusses, they taught us stone arches, the keystone, why, how it is distributing the loads, the bricks, how they are distributing the load. The initial principles you understand, then it is for you to look at everything and learn. The learning is never going to end, but keep your eyes open. Yes. Learn everything around you. You can learn from that.
Yeah, there is another very interesting gentleman by the name Alok Kumar. He appreciates you by the fact that you talk to every consultant in a building, and therefore whatever building design that come out has been through the input given to you by various consultants, like the AC consultant, like the plumbing consultant, like the structural consultant. So you think the coordination between architect and consultant becomes very important for you to finalize a design? Or what is it that an architect should do? Have a meeting first with consultants and then finalize his design? Or he finalizes the design and then tells consultants that this is what he wishes to do and wants?
Again, there's nothing like first and last, but you have to be at certain level to design any building or any project. But whatever level you are at, you have to also realize that that is not the ultimate, and you are not all knowing. There is a lot of things that you don't know, and when somebody gives you a good suggestion, you can counter it if that is already taken into account. But if it is not taken into account, I'm the first guy to take that suggestion and say, oh, great, my dear, let's do it. So that's my policy. Yes, I'm sure that there are so many people who know so many more things than me, and in my caliber is design and how to adopt that. If I should adopt that, because a lot of times somebody may have the knowledge, but that knowledge in phase one. There is another thing in phase two, how to put that phase one and phase two together and get to phase four. That is my caliber. But not to that, phase one knowledge, I have to take it. Phase two knowledge, I have to take it and go to phase four.
So there is another interesting question in line with this, and this is by a practicing architect, Anuja Sawant. She says, what is this business mantra, business secret, or business USP of architect Hafeez Contractor?
I just gave a talk just about 2 days back to MET College, and that was a talk for 2.5 hours. I hope they have made a, a film on it, and you can watch it on a YouTube. It's like, what I did today, I can put it as a mantra. But when I started with my clients, there was nothing like a mantra. It just came about. And one mantra which I always felt, that whoever enters my office is my client, and I respect him and I'll do his work. A lot of times, and I've never been into politics. I don't go into what is what, who is doing what, who is doing. A client comes and says he wants to design a building. I'll say, okay, where is the plot? Where is this? I look at all that, go see the plot and design the buildings. A lot of times somebody will say, oh, that guy who came, you know who he is? I said, I don't know. Oh, he's this and he's that. Why are you doing his work? I said, I'm not bothered. He's come to my office and I am providing service. That's it. So that is the first mantra. But then I have several other mantras. I would suggest, uh, I think she's a lady, na?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Okay.
she's a very successful practicing architect.
Okay, so watch that, and I'm sure maybe you get some ideas, or maybe you can give me some ideas to better my practice also.
Yeah, no, but no. I think she wants to know if there is something which you would like everybody to know, and then help them
Everybody
to
can watch
succeed.
that if you like. You can call up the MET College and they'll give it to you.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Can I also then ask you that you must have heard of this recent Supreme Court judgment where you don't have to have a degree in architecture to practice as an architect, because as per the Council of Architecture, there is difference between a degree holder of architecture who can use the title architect, but there are several people who do not have degree in architecture but practice as architect. What do you think? What is your idea on this? Do you think it is right? Do you have any suggestions on this?
I think
A lot of architects have asked me this question. I can't take everybody's name, so there are 10, 12 people who think that this is.
I think I'm very, very disappointed that
Yeah,
some kind of a rule like that has come,
yeah,
that you can practice architecture without the title of being an architect.
yeah.
So he can sign on the drawings as architect, or what will he do?
No, he can sign on the drawing as licensed surveyor. He can sign as a drawing as an engineer who takes responsibility of the drawing for getting approvals.
I think people who have made this kind of a law do not understand that there was a time when this. I remember when I joined Karegar's office, the license was, license surveyor. At that time, what was the kind of buildings that we were doing? I remember at that time, the architect used to do the structural design also. Architect used to do the plumbing drawings, the electrical drawing, everything architect used to do. There were no electrical engineers, there were no plumbing engineers.
Right.
Times are different. Today, if they say that, a licensed surveyor can practice and design large buildings, I think we are doing disservice to our nation. We have to have the right kind of people doing the right thing. Otherwise, we will give a wrong message all over the world, and it is not correct to do something like that. Yes, if you want a licensed surveyor to do some buildings, yes, you say that if you have a licensed surveyor, you can do a building of, say, ground floor. You can do a structure of this size or that size. Then, if you have so many years of experience, you can do a building of this, so many floors, what the size and shape and all that. And now that kind of a specification should be done.
Yeah.
And that way, you will be giving work to everyone.
Yeah.
And you will also restrict any wrong things happening. So you cannot just allow a licensed surveyor to do anything and anything. It'll give a bad name to the field of the profession of architects, and that is not a right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. There's another lady, Ishu Tandon, who agrees with your idea that, city of Bombay will have full of Mada-like dabba buildings all over, And therefore she feels and expects that legends like you should do something about it, take a lead. So I think, do you have any idea about Mumbai as a city, which should have a definite skyline or should have a certain skyline growth, where at least we have scenic, beautiful cities?
See, the skyline is made. You look at skyline of each and every city. There will be tall buildings. There will be different kind of buildings, and every age will have some kind of a building. We in Mumbai will have buildings. We will call it the Mada skyline, or you can call it the Subodh Kumar skyline, because it was Mr. Subodh Kumar who made these laws. He looked at everything from a different point of view. I had gone and met him. I had given him a petition. I said, sir, with this, none of the Hiranandani buildings can be coming up because there is nothing for FSI. There is nothing for elevation. Now, he said that I'm giving you that 35% fungible. You utilize that. But you are charging money for that. Previously, it was free. So, but the chief minister accepted it. He signed on it. There should have been a big committee because this is going to put, for next so many years, your fate is sealed. And finally, as I said it, nobody will realize it. Today, I am saying it, that, it is this, people did it. But after 10 years, nobody will realize it.
Yeah.
And then what will happen? See, one bad law in a city can lead you to so many things. There was a law that, no office buildings are allowed in the city of Mumbai. Do you know that? There was a law. There was a law. Because of that, all the residences in Kolaba and Fountain area and a part of Muhammad Ali Road started getting changed, and they got converted into offices, and nobody put up any office buildings. And all the business of new offices went to other cities. Mumbai lost on it. So just making one wrong law, it has so much of ramification. And the most important thing is that you are going to make your buildings look awful.
Yep.
And I give an example. Everything, everyone, even animals, actors, actresses, everybody does a nice, puff and all that. And I said, now no crowns for our buildings. Why? You see any building, there is a beautiful crown. You see, Empire State Building, look at VT, look at your municipal building, look at your own college buildings, all the domes, this, that, nothing is going to be allowed. Why? Yeah. There has to be some romance to everything. And if there is no romance, you are dead.
Yeah, in the sense, you are not having enough opportunity to create a good skyline, is what you're trying to say.
No, I'm saying romance, my dear.
Okay.
Romance.
So you bring it idea of love.
And if that is not there, you are a dead man.
Yeah. So I think we can use architectural expressions to improve the condition of the skyline and bring in love in the city.
No, I think you should go, and I'll come with you. Let us go and meet Mr. Uday Thakare. I have already given a petition to his son. Let us go and give it to him. I'm sure he will consider it. And if he doesn't consider it, then we'll say that this is how we are going to leave this city for your grandkids.
No. We will try to convince him. We'll try to tell him how better situation we can create together as architects, and I'm sure he will take it in positive.
Yeah. We'll convince him. Chalo. Very good.
Try to do that. Okay, sir. There is another issue. I know this green buildings are now becoming important for all government buildings. People have now understood sustainable architecture. Now, a lot of new architectures buildings might come up as a new style, like the new Bombay airport building. We have this new technology coming up. So the kind of architecture that New Bombay or Thane or the cities outside Bombay look up to Bombay city for inspiration. And therefore, everybody feels that if it is happening in Bombay this way, then it is absolutely all right to happen elsewhere too. So, for example, you took pyramid as a form for designing Infosys office buildings in Bangalore. So you must have a specific reason for doing that, right? Because of a certain client requirement.
That pyramid building for Infosys is not done by me.
Okay, but that is done by someone else.
Okay, let me, I get your question and I can answer it. See, first of all, you said green building.
Yes.
And then you're saying sustainable architecture.
Yeah.
Okay, the green building, green building, yes, is one part. Sustainable architecture is another part as far as I am concerned.
Okay.
Green building, how to use materials in the right way, how to save your energy, all of that, yes, it's very, very, very important. Okay, but there was a time, yes, we did all that, saving of electricity, saving of energy, yes, all that is very important. Okay, but today, to me, sustainable architecture goes a little bit further. Not little bit, a lot further. I say that land is the most precious commodity. Land is the most precious commodity which cannot be reproduced.
That's right.
Electricity, yes, it can be reproduced. It can be produced more. When today we have so many other ways of producing electricity. We have so many other ways of doing so many other things. So how, when you're talking about cities and when you're talking about New Bombay, how you're going to design your cities of the future, how you are going to be having those cities more green. Because if you read and if you think about the footprint of the earth, how to reduce the footprint of the earth and reverse, the only way is how to make more green, how to plant more trees, how to make more area available for greening, how to restrict your construction, how to restrict your buildings, use less floor plate, house more people. This is the way you should design your new cities, how you should have less roads, and still function. Now, these are the things to be done, but that is not being done because new cities are being designed in the way as how older cities were done. And that is a sad part.
Yeah. So you want them to be thought in a different way. You have tried to present some kind of ideas already, as far as I know, to government.
Every time what we do, when we are talking about new cities, when we are talking about sustainability, okay, the whole question arises: take less land because you have a very, very big growing population. We have a young population. They are going to eat more. They are going to drink more. Where are we going to grow more food? Food securities have to be considered. But then, whenever we have our cities, the airport does the biggest problem. The airport comes in the middle of the city. and restricts the height. So the sustainability, because first of all, it takes up, so many thousands of acres, and then it restricts where you have said that you will put up a new city. The new cities should be cities which should be more dense, confined, and intense, so that you could have use more of undergrounds and electrical trains, electrical, circulation, vertical circuit. You should not depend on fossil fuel. You should not depend on automobiles. Okay, those are the things. But that doesn't happen because the airport restricts it. So what will happen? And every time you do a city, the city is having an X FSI. When you have a new city, they will have X minus something. Why? The new city is going to come up with new infrastructure.
Right.
Have the guts and make the new city 10 times of the old city, because you are going to put new infrastructure. The services are going to be new. They are going to be for the future. So you should think about that. But they will give you, if the old city is having, say, 1 FSI, they will give you 0.5. Or if the old city is having, say, 2.5, they will give you 1.5. Why 1.5?
Yes.
You give them, calculate how many people are going to be there in the new city. Calculate that and be bold and give an FSI of 8. Give an FSI of 10, because you're going to plan for it.
Yeah. So
now, that guts, nobody has it.
Yeah. But sir, can I then personally ask you another question regarding this? Your point well taken, but like there are several pressure groups of developers called CREDI, like there is this Maharashtra Chamber of Housing Industry. Do you think architects should have together a pressure group that actually keeps on advising the city commissioner that if you are developing a city in a certain way, it should have these minimum standards that he has to follow, and thereby accordingly make the development control regulations, decide what to do? Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm suggesting, but with, if licensed architects are going to be architects, who's going to give an appointment to a licensed architect association?
No, the idea is we try to make.
No, but now we are going to be going to get group with licensed surveyors.
Yeah, but the whole
commissioner is a licensed surveyor को appointment देने का है यार. What status are we going to come to?
No. So we have this practicing architects group, we have PIATA group, we have certain groups which makes presentations to the commissioner quite often. And I think these ideas which you are suggesting could also be used to do a presentation for people to do a rethink and thereby change the development control regulations to the direction we want.
Yeah. My dear, when all these bylaws were being made, I had gone and met the chief minister, not once, not twice, nearly 10 to 20 times. And he had promised me, and I had explained to him, sir, this are the reasons why am I telling you to do this. Okay. He had promised me. Finally, he didn't do it. Second chief minister also I went. I said, sir, please. He had also promised me. He said, you go to all the officers. If they don't do it, I will do it. Now that is also gone. Now you are telling, okay, now let us go and meet Uddhav Thackeray. Yes, I'll definitely come.
No, I'm saying this because, I have a lot of hope from this artist chief minister.
But I also have a lot of hope, and I have asked for his appointment. Yeah. But right now we are in this kind of a state.
So after the lockdown, maybe one day
we will go and meet him and we will convince him. And I'm sure I'm much more because he being an artist, he loves greenery. He loves, what he talked about, the RA milk and all that. I fully appreciate and agree with him. So I have great hopes on him, and we'll go and get it done.
Yeah. So I have now last two questions, sir.
Okay.
For you. One is from architect Nitin Shurkar. He says that he will be very happy to have your comment on the redevelopment of the Central Vista and the Central Secretariat project that is going on. What are your views on it?
I can only say that I'm unhappy that the opportunity is not being taken. I whatever little I saw of the design, I feel that this should be something which the building should not be just merging with the old buildings. I have always given a simile of saying that how to respect heritage architecture, but you have to do when you do a new building, you have to respect it, but not copy it. It's like in my family, I respect the old people. I let them dress the way they like, but I don't tell my young daughter and my young son to dress up the way they like. My old people dress up. Uh, that's the way you have new blood, you have new energy in a family. So the same way you have to have new energy and new blood in your city also. Then and then only your city will be appreciated, city will be vibrant, and whatever you do today should represent that, oh, this was done in this time, and it should be known all over the world. If I just do a building which is going to match and just merge, I think we will lose an opportunity. But anyway, I'm not the architect, so however much I talk on it, it's of no value. Now you're selected an architect. Now let him design.
Yeah.
Now we should not bitch about it. Let him design. Now it's over.
Yeah. No, we basically, after having spoken to you and getting to know various aspects of architecture, have you considered teaching, sir? If you are asked, why don't you share your knowledge, your experience, your projects? After speaking to you, what I'm inspired to say today is that you should have a dialogue regularly every 3 months with students of architecture in several schools of architecture,
Boss,
where you actually.
okay, I'll tell you. You must have heard this saying, na, "Ghar ki murgi dal barabar."
Yeah.
You heard it, na? None of the colleges in Mumbai ever call me to give a talk because they think that I am a bunch of, bullshit. Okay, whatever you may say.
No, but that's not true.
Because there are so many principals, because there are so many guys working in my office who come from several colleges and say, okay, there it has been taught that whatever I do should not be done. Okay, in Mumbai.
Oh.
There are colleges, okay, and
Okay.
I have students in my college. I have guys who are working in my office who say that. So I have been never invited to any colleges in Mumbai. Yes, but I get invited to colleges all over India, and I happily go there and spend my time 1 day, 2 days, give a talk, see the work. But I will tell you, I sometimes get very, very disappointed because the work doesn't come to a proper level. And that is what is worrying me. One has to do something about the education, how we are, allowing so many colleges. Do we have so many teachers? These are questions which I can't answer, but I am really worried.
Yeah, but I think, having a dialogue with teachers and students will set the ball rolling. It will lead to some thought processes. It will have an open session of question and answers.
No, but one thing I like to tell you one thing.
Yes, sir.
When you say that, why don't I teach? There was a time. There was a time when I used to teach. I used to go and teach at academy. I don't know whether you had already joined the
Yeah,
college.
no, I was in the first year when you joined. Yeah.
Okay. So I was teaching, I think, in fourth or fifth year, or God knows what.
Yeah.
And whenever I used to, I was taking design, and when I would say, "Oh, let's do like this and that," and think about this, think about that, and the guy will look at me, completely, as if, what am I talking? And then I said that you don't have the flair for it. So why did you join architecture? And then somebody will say, "Oh, my uncle told me you'll make a lot of money. this, that. I said, "Hey, bhai, please, this is not architecture. Is one of the profession which I call it the most easy and the most difficult. For if you are meant for it, it's the most easy because you love it.
Right.
And if you're not meant for it, you don't know where you are. You are, fish out of water. So what I used to do, I used to tell him, "Dekh, boss, still there is time. Leave and do something else which you really enjoy." So every year I used to tell one student or two students. Once it came about, I used to take about 5, 6 students. The group was that kind of a thing. Once it came about that all of those students were like that.
Oh,
So then I can't tell everyone to leave. So then I thought, Baba, it's time for me to leave. So I stopped teaching at that time. So that is the story of my teaching career.
oh, but sir, I would be very happy if you could, exhibit some of your works, share your design thoughts with students. Let students have a dialogue with you. It will be a wonderful session for all of us.
Call me, I'll come. And I don't charge money for coming to colleges.
No,
Don't
no.
worry about it. I will come gladly.
Then it would be a pleasure to have you talk to
ठीक
students
है,
of
ठीक है.
architecture.
Okay, okay.
So thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for answering questions. There are many questions coming in, but we can't take it all because of the lack of time. But it was a pleasure speaking to you. We hope architecture takes new steps. We go ahead in the profession and make a difference because we are here to act as agents of change. Thank you, architect Padma Bhushan, Hafeez Contractor. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you,
On behalf,
Rajiv. Thanks.
also, I yeah, thank you so much. I would also like to thank you on behalf of Team Idac and behalf of Team CTBUH India. We thank you, Hafeez sir, for the grand opening of season 1 of Legends. We could not have thought of any other persona who would be the best fit to start this season 1. Now, it was indeed motivating to know about your work ethics, design ideology, and vision for India. Thank you so much, Rajiv sir, for being a fantastic host for the evening. Special thank you to our sponsor for the webinar, that is Wellspun Flooring Limited. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank the audience and a round of applause to all our audiences that have shown support and tuned in this evening. For updates on who would be our next legend, stay tuned and follow us on Instagram and Ask Idac. That is www.askidac.com. We will be back next Sunday, 17th May, same time, same place. Legends who build our nation. Thank you, sir, for building our nation. Thank you, Hafeez, sir. Till then, everybody stay home, stay safe. Thank you so much for being with us.
Bye, Rajiv.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, officer. Bye, David.
क्या बोल? हाँ? हाँ? What?
All Bombay colleges. He is the principal of the